Hey everybody, how you doing? Today I want to talk about the Prometric testing, for your CPA exam. I guess they have many other exams there too. Now this is it's a different exam than I ever had. And I guess most people here, you've got a college degree, you might have 150 credits. You've taken exams before. So I really just want to talk about why the Prometric is different than other exams. And, things that I do to help me lead up to taking my CPA exam on test day. Really, I would go on the AICPA website, read about the tests. Definitely in one of my other videos, I talked about going on the sample test so you're comfortable with the layout and everything. But anyways, this is a very different test. Basically, I think because of hunger, fluids, time restraints, and that some questions don't count. So let's start with number one. Bring your NTS and 2 forms of ID, one being picture ID. Make sure your name's the same. You'll be dead in the water, won't be able to take your test. So that's the most important. Now, I like to get there. I like to get to the testing center about half an hour before my test is. That's just me. I even do a dry run the week before, see how long it's going to take me. I just stress about things, so that's what I like to do. Now, I think very important is hunger, because 3 or 4 hour tests, and you can't eat unless you take a break. So what I like to do, what I think my best tip is, maybe 2-3 days before. I do 2 days before the exam. I kind of simulate when my test is, and half an hour before my test, I bring my breakfast in my car. So 2 days before the test, I simulate, at my house, half an hour before my test, I eat my breakfast. Now, I don't like something with a lot of liquids, something that's going to stick to my stomach. For you. So half an hour before, and I don't try to drink much liquids that day. But we'll get to that. So, with the hunger, so then I eat my breakfast half an hour before. Right when the test is supposed to start, I eat a little granola bar. And, on test day, I go into the Prometric Center, and they say, oh, you're next. I go to the bathroom, try to make myself go to the bathroom, eat a granola bar, and go in. So I replicate that 2-3 days before, so I can see, am I hungry? Can I make it 3-4 hours? And that's the thing with the liquids too. You can't take a break on the Prometrics unless you're at the end of a test slit. So, when I simulate it at my house 2-3 days before, I go through 30 questions and see, do I have to go to the bathroom? Am I hungry? I do that after every simulated test slit. Because that would just be the worst. You have to go to the bathroom when you're in the middle of a test slit. You can't study. So, the thing that was getting me was the fluids factor of it all. I'm a big coffee drinker. So what do? Because you drink your coffee really early in the morning, so you go to the bathroom before the test, and then your caffeine buzz has worn off. You pound some coffee right before you go to the test, you're probably going to have to go to the bathroom the next 3-4 hours. So I started taking caffeine pills There's no fluids involved with that, and I wouldn't recommend drinking coffee or taking nothing and then all of a sudden going to Prometric and taking coffee pills. So I always try to simulate the exact replica 2-3 days before. Time restraints. I always like to put on my little scratch notepad paper. Say on BEC, what I just took, it was it starts at 3. So after the first simulation, it was I think whatever. Say you do 45 minutes each Tesla. Write down 2:15, 1:30, 45 minutes, and that way you can see how you're doing at the end of every Tesla. Now, the questions, some of the questions don't count. I think I've done the math, like 7% of the questions don't count. So, and also you start with an easy medium testlet. If you do good, you go to a higher testlet, and you get those questions right, and they're worth more points. Now, I don't really worry about that too much. You just go to the test, you do the best you can, okay? You try to answer every question, and you do the best you can. I think that's the best way. Don't psych yourself out. I hate that you don't know if that question counted or not, but you've all been to tests before. You missed a couple questions, and you're like, oh, mentally you're like, damn, I failed it, or I'm not getting that 75. On this test, you don't know if the question counted or not. You don't know if that simulation counts or not. So just try to do your best. Now, time management is big. I always, look at forums. I always try to get my info from many different places. And the similarities, I'm like, if I hear the same thing from 10 people, then I think, oh, well, that's probably a good indicator. So I always see people, I ran out of time for simulations. Well, on all the exams except BEC, it's worth 40% of your grade. So roughly half your grade is simulations, and then you say, oh, I didn't even get to 2 or 3 of them. I mean, you're killing yourself. I wouldn't spend too much time on the multiple choices. They're worth like a point. You know it, you don't know it, boom. You don't want to waste 5 minutes on a question and get it wrong, and then not have time on the simulations. I think that's a big part, is getting to the simulations with enough time. Never leave a simulation blank. Some of the simulations are kind of multiple choice because you'll have 2 or 3 or 4 answers that are possible. You take the, you have no idea. You're running out of time. At least get in there and put something in. Another thing, I like to put zeros on the simulations that you have to come up with your own number. No guidance really. Some of the times it's going to be 0. So if you don't have any time, at least put zeros in. But I don't recommend that. Leave yourself enough time to do the simulations. It's half the test. Don't spend 3/4 of the test on multiple choice, then 1/4 on the simulations. So I think I've rambled on enough. Please tell me what you think down at the bottom, if I missed anything, what helps you on simulation day. But basically, it is, eat, drinking fluids, and practicing your time. Basically, my best tip is to simulate it for 3 days before. Anyways, have a good day. Hope you enjoyed this. Look for more. Subscribe. Check out my other videos on CPA exam tips. And good luck on the exams, everybody.